Hello everyone, Pineapple Apple here with the next of the Ninth Doctor's Big Finish Adventures, Season 4, Episode 4, Cloud 8 by Lauren Mooney and Stuart Pringle, who we last saw on the channel with Below There. Last time we had Dare You, with nice acting and an interesting concept, but got too big for its britches. And here we have kind of the same situation. We have mostly good acting, an interesting message really fitting with Series 1, but it seems to spin its wheels a bit and not really talk about the scope of the issue. It's like if the long game had no Simon Pegg or Jagrafess. Anyway, let's look at the ups and downs as we start with the characters. First up, we of course have the Ninth Doctor reprised by Christopher Eccleston, and this story is exactly the topic he loves to explore. Not only thinking about Nine's differences and relationships to humans,
I did it again, I picked another stupid ape.
but also a story about how humans and the way our society is going suck ass. Nine gets a lot of good moments, much like the long game and Father's Day. He gets to rage at humans and their shortcomings, which is a nice part of the character, someone who usually sees the highs of humanity, but of course, Nine, fresh out of a war, is the cynical one. He plays mind-meddled very well, and I probably only have one problem with the character. His deductive skills are pretty on point, but we learn that the people are taken in when they sleep. But honestly, I don't recall him actually sleeping. Rose does, she gets manipulated, but then Nine gets it too, when we have no indication that he actually slept. I think sleep is probably one of the Doctor's least specified attributes, because he can go like a month without sleep, but then when he regenerates he can't do anything but sleep. But the story itself really should have been more specific here. Of course, with him we have Rose Tyler reprised by Billie Piper, and I liked her for the most part. The performance is really good, but her place in the story and dialogue sometimes felt off. Once again, she plays being drugged and confused very well, and her position against the Doctor's ideas and opinions work pretty well, but I felt not every moment of her thought process felt natural. There were times I felt like she was being more dense than she usually is, and while not distractingly bad, I did feel a little irked. Her opposing ideas and opinions didn't feel as fleshed out as in episodes like Father's Day and Dalek, or as meaningful as in the last days of the Powerless State. So her lesser moments weren't exactly bad, just not as good as I would have liked. And I'm not sure what exactly in the script has irked me so bad to communicate the fact to you the way that I want. Along with our main characters, our closest side character is Elsa, played by Felicity Cant, who last appeared on the channel in The Bramble King, but judging by her appearance in a story I listened to recently, The Quintessence, she seems to have been typecast as innocent little girl. And she plays it well, but I have to admit, along with the memory wipe loop, she grated the hell out of me for a lot of the story. Elsa is a sweet girl, but was sometimes frustratingly, although accurate to her childlike nature, repetitive or sometimes lacking understanding of the situation. But it was mostly the voice. And with the day essentially repeating her saying the same thing over and over again, kind of got to me. I'm sure most people heard her as just the innocent girl she is, and that's great, but my personal listening experience wasn't as positive. But either way, I don't think that's a fault in performance, and I think she does well enough to tug on the heartstrings. Lastly, in the main characters, we have Elsa's fathers, Oz and Marty, played by Lawrence Boothman and Charlie Kondo, who, judging by this and his TV appearance, I guess he's typecast as the gay guy. It would be super funny if the actor turned out to be straight. Anyway, Marty is quite good while he's there, Charlie plays the fugue and confusion well, but I have a problem when it comes to both Oz and his character. The acting wasn't bad, pretty good in his freakout, but the character dies halfway through, malfunctioning and getting burnt out thanks to the AI's actions. But by the end, Elsa and Marty don't seem to have remembered him yet, which is also confusing as it's the AI's actions that made people forget, but it's established that Elsa isn't connected, so why is her brain so scrambled? But the point is, they don't actually grieve him. So the place where the emotions around his demise would be the most heartbreaking just don't come through. I feel like his death could have and should have been more impactful, even if the idea that they don't remember him and can't grieve him is also an interesting, kind of horrific idea that also isn't capitalized on. So the story starts with Rose having her turn of destination, and somehow they escape the Powerless State. Now, do I admit that having the same location so many times in a row is a tad limiting? Definitely. But I will never be sick of Jackie, and I know for sure she won't be hopping in the TARDIS for extended periods. So I'll take as many 9 Rose Jackie powerless state stories as I can. Just maybe spread them out a bit. Although dodging Jackie, they land in the 47th century in basically the same place. This time is known as humanity's second Dark Age. No massive advancements, barely any known history of the era, but is a time when humans are out among the stars, and a select few are waiting for their beloved home planet to be re-terraformed. And in the meantime, monstrous creatures roam the surface. This doesn't seem to directly oppose canon as there is some wiggle room, but looking from a basic perspective, it is an interesting idea that I think the story could lean into more, as I feel like the long game in the Dalek 2-part finale with its commentary on human progress halting was utilised better narratively. As much like Dare You, I feel a lot of this story's best ideas and concepts could have been better utilised. 9 seems to think their tether to the powerless state is suspicious, but no time to worry about that as there's a lot more going on, sensing people in the sky before being chased out by the monsters. After the theme, 9 and Rose come up to one of the people-filled stations in the sky, the descendants of those that stayed around instead of traversing the universe. They pretty quickly come into contact with a very excitable and inquisitive Elsa. Introducing the city as Hi Wickham, Cloud City 8. Elsa gives us the rundown, the Cloud City folks waiting for their planet to be regrown by machines, most likely due to human pollution and the like, while the people relax up above. It's pretty quickly established that strange things are going on, and their inability to question why rules are in place, and non-enforced yet highly regarded curfew, and Elsa invites 9 and Rose home, so also a lack of self-preservation inviting clueless strangers into your house. We meet Elsa's 2 dads. The 2 of them aren't amazingly complex, but they have nice chemistry and sell the decline pretty well, but they don't exactly do all that much, and it's here you pretty easily realise all of them are named with even aged for us pop culture in mind. Marty playing off the Doctor, or Doc Brown, as Elsa brings up, Oz as in the Great and Powerful, and Elsa, well, I think that one should be obvious. Now, while it's not overt, I do like how the use of older properties like Back to the Future, Spirited Away, or the Western Smoking Barrels does well to show how little originality this current era has. The people constantly consuming and integrating media from centuries ago into their lives as they have nothing new. It adds well to the setting, but I never felt it was a large part of the commentary. Rose succumbs to Elsa's evil little girl powers of puppy dog eyes, sleeping over with her while 9 wanders around looking for anything suspicious. Now, another idea I like in passing is that the residents have no need to work for money. A sort of high sci-fi, almost Star Trek utopia kind of deal, but in realms like that, people use their free time to explore and advance, where this is a much more depressing take on the idea, like Wall-E. The family enjoy each other's company, Rose finding their strange, slavish behaviour to their sleep patterns, well, strange, but sleeps along with them anyway, while 9 comes upon a very tired individual, Chihiro, whose brain seems scrambled like eggs as they freak the hell out and are quickly dragged away by unknowns. Elsa has nightmares, but Rose puts her back to bed, and the next day Rose and 9 have a really nice conversation about differing cultures. I mean, sure, it's obviously going to be a sinister plot, but Rose's take on it is nicely refreshing.
Well, imagine you're a little blue man, first time on Earth.
A little blue man?
Oh, whatever.
That's practically racist.
First time on Earth, you see some old woman keel over in the street. Suddenly it's all flashing lights and some bloke just bundles her into the back of a van. What would you think? It's not necessarily sinister. It's just different.
The locals have no clue what's going on while 9 starts investigating again, unable to find the leading AI's control rooms, finding the lack of a central power suspicious. They snoop through the entertainment holodecks, finding the obsession with sleep in the populace strange, and that many other people with pop culture names have been disappeared. Elsa has seemingly forgotten the previous sleepover, Rose worried and her whole day slipping from memory, while 9 dejectedly tells her to play along with the residents' clearly adult minds. minds. This essentially starts days and days of their memories unknowingly resetting. Elsa having a nightmare, the two being suspicious the next day, and while it makes sense that Rose gets trapped in it very quickly, 9 recognizes that Rose doesn't remember correctly, but seemingly off-screen he gets pulled into the loop too. It's not clear, but during the montage he just kind of gets looped in at an indeterminate point, and I found that to be really unsatisfying. All we needed was one scene of Rose in the loop while 9 is suffering from a lack of sleep, desperately trying to stop it, and help Rose only to be well rested and content the next day, having forgot. But we don't really get any indication like that. Oz freaks out like Chihiro did, being taken away and everyone seemingly forgetting he existed. The loop doesn't stay long enough to get annoying, no Megalos business here, but soon enough 9 and Rose find the TARDIS covered in 6 weeks of dust. So something is clearly wrong. The TARDIS can't find anything, but they figure out people have been being disappeared, and just like the silence, they find writing on themselves, telling themselves not to sleep, so they give themselves a little stimulant to keep them awake and they investigate. Marty seems to be deteriorating, vaguely remembering Oz's presence, but that night they figure out something is being channeled through the sleepers' brains. The people themselves being used as processors, explaining why 9 can't find any physical center of information. For some reason, unlike the others, the signal can't get into Elsa's head. Nightmares and dreams allowed to get through, unlike anyone else, but sensing her severance, sleepers start getting woken up to chase them and eliminate the threat. Why exactly the AI is activating people to get her now, even though it probably should have known yonks back that she wasn't connecting, I have no idea. We know she's been dreaming for at least 6 weeks, so I'm not too sure what that's about. A sleeper that sounds obviously like Oz, since it's the same actor, leads the charge, and 9 and Rose have to try and escape with Elsa. They run for cover, hiding in the holodeck so 9 can figure out people can't form memories thanks to their brains being hijacked by the data. Ironically, no one having actually slept up here.
You think it's their fault?
Of course it's your fault!
Mine?
Humans!
It's nothing like where I come from. Something's happened. Someone's forced them.
No, nobody's made them do anything. You do it yourselves. You always do. Because it's coming, Rose. Ease, convenience, giving away a little bit more of yourselves every day, and they will ask for more and more and more until
this.
Until the Dark Ages are back in business.
9 rages against the human stupidity, but has a plan. He turns the holodeck into a Faraday cage, blocking out the signal to the people and sending Elsa's monstrous dreams back into the data cloud, allowing him a lot more time so he can fix up the Wi-Fi, giving the people their freedom back. At the end, 9 and Rose leave now that everyone is safe, and Elsa reveals that her nightmares were all about the big bad wolf. A really nice integration of the Series 1 through line, and also neat with the story's mentionings of Beowulf earlier. So that was Cloud 8, and although we got great acting and interesting commentary paired with a setting, this story has many moving parts that just don't work for me. It's fine that the villain is something more passive without a personality, but the solution feels messy as no reason is given for Elsa to be different, making the solution involving her dreams to feel cheap, whereas if there was even an inference as to how she's different, maybe she has a larger amount of psychic potential like her other role in The Quintessence, or something like a Stephen King child, I don't know. But there needed to be something so that everything built upon the point stood tall. The classic Series 1 humans suck idea is used very interestingly, but I find its endpoint to be less satisfying than the long game. Both stories have 9 come in, solve a part of the problem, to let humanity sort out the rest. But with this already feeling less narratively satisfying, the non-conclusive ending also ends up feeling a little basic as a consequence. He might as well have turned the Wi-Fi off and on again, with little to do with any character arcs. I really like this story's ideas and what it does, but exactly like Dare You, it puts in too much and loses its way. Its inability to focus on one idea spreading the story too thin. So I'll match the story by giving the Ninth Doctor Adventures, Series 4, Episode 4, Cloud 8, by Lauren Mooney and Stuart Pringle, a 7 out of 10. The ending doesn't ruin anything, but does make the story quite underwhelming, and having just listened to The Quintessence, this really feels like the kind of story they were telling there, but just on a smaller timescale and budget. Thank you everybody for watching my review of Cloud 8. I was a little disappointed in it, but I still had a good time listening. Please like the video if you liked it, comment down below if you wish, consider subscribing to the channel, and if you do, ring the notification bell so that you're told every single time that I make an upload. Once again, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next review. Bye!
Toast. A little piece of toast. Because there's so much to choose from. There's brown bread, white bread, all sorts of wholemeal bread. It comes in funny packages with writing on the side.